You know, yesterday was yet another incredibly devastating day for Donald Trump. And the way I would just characterize what went down is his past came back to haunt him in the congressional testimony by Lev Parnas. And also, when you go and you look back what happened 4 years ago, I mean, like Donald Trump's posting, are you better off today than when you were 4 years ago? The answer is absolutely yes, because let me show you this clip from 4 years ago to the day to remind you of the Donald Trump press conferences that led to me and my brothers starting MeidasTouch and me moving away from my law practice to create what has become this media company and community that you are all a part of. But this is 4 years ago to the day. Let's play this clip.
What the hell do you have to lose? Okay.
So what do you say to Americans? Nearly 200. I'll spell up.
John,
Nearly 200 dead. What do you say to the Americans who are scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Go ahead. I think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Concast. Let me just for whom you work. Let me just tell you something. That's really bad reporting. And you ought to get back to reporting instead of sensationalism. Let's see if it works. It might and it might not. I happen to feel good about it, but who knows? I've been right a lot. Let's see what happens, John.
Sickening and absolutely disgusting. And as I reflect upon that clip, I also reflect upon these other events that took place when Donald Trump was disgracing the office. And you know, at that time period, Lev Parnas, who has since had his own mea culpa and discussed what went down during those Trump years, and when he was tasked by Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani to go to Ukraine to basically shake down Zelensky when Zelensky was elected and to eventually engage in all of the conduct that you heard when Donald Trump said he made that phone call, or when we heard the phone call that Trump made to Zelensky. So Lev Parnas ended up testifying before Congress. And of course, how did that come about? The MAGA Republicans were trying to once again hold these hearings about Hunter Biden's laptop or Hunter Biden's nudes or whatever they're doing. And the Democrats, very intelligently, kind of took over the hearing. Democrats called Lev Parnas as a witness, and he let everybody know and reminded everybody, remember, Lev knows what went down when Trump was in office and what he had asked Lev to do. Here, play this clip.
But lots of times.
Is there anything that you'd like to relate to us about your conversations with Donald Trump that would bear on the conduct of these proceedings?
I mean, Donald Trump was aware of everything that was going on that day in the Red Room when we were in the White House, after Rudy bringing Donald Trump up to speed on that I could go out to Ukraine and get Viktor Shokin. Donald Trump approached me, shook my hand, said, "Thank you for all that you're doing. Keep up the good work," patted me on the back, took pictures, and I was off to Ukraine.
To meet with Viktor Shokin?
To find Viktor Shokin, to bring him back here to meet with Lindsey Graham.
Got it. Thank you so much.
And throughout the day, you had Donald Trump posting all of this whiny stuff. Again, he's like posted over 50 times now in the past 48 hours about not being able to post a bond in the amount of $464 million after bragging how much cash he has and how rich he has. It's just one whiny post after another, one whiny post after another. But eye on the prize here. Let's focus on, again, what was going down. And there was another part of Lev Parnas's testimony, which talks about, which goes to the heart of this right-wing propaganda network that's been established by Trump and the Murdochs and all this other right-wing stuff. And this is a part that just had me just in, I mean, you know this is going down, but when you watch this, you're like, wow. Here's Lev Parnas talking about how disinformation, how Russian propaganda was laundered directly from the Kremlin through Rudy Giuliani and Trump and others and pushed on networks like Fox. Here, play this clip. And Lev was there when this went down. Lev knows. Here, play this clip.
At what point did Mr. Giuliani begin working directly with Russian agents and Russian assets? individuals who would later become sanctioned by Donald Trump's own Treasury Department for spreading propaganda and disinformation against Joe Biden?
It was sometime in probably around May, June of 2019.
Were you aware, was Mr. Giuliani aware that these people were basically just doing the bidding of Vladimir Putin?
Absolutely.
So he had no hesitation about spreading lies that were concocted by Russian agents?
As long as it fit the narrative, absolutely not.
How were you and Giuliani able to take these false allegations peddled by corrupt officials and Russian agents and promote and amplify them here in the United States, in our political system? Weren't media groups skeptical of your claims?
Most media groups, I'd probably say all except for Fox and a few other right-wing media groups, didn't want to take any of the information, and that aggravated Rudy Giuliani and John Solomon and other players. And the main group that was being pushed through was Fox, Sean Hannity and some other media personnel over there. But then there was also other people that were doing the bidding for the Russian people in Congress, like Senator Ron Johnson, like Congressman Pete Sessions that sits here right now, that was with me from the very beginning on this journey into finding up digging dirt on Joe Biden.
Then one of the MAGA Republicans' key witness, Jason Galanis, he was in jail. Like the MAGA Republicans picked somebody who was like literally incarcerated for ripping off a pension fund. And Democratic Congress member Lynch made sure that everybody knew, again, the MAGA Republicans first relied on a Russian asset who's incarcerated. They then have relied on a Chinese spy who was incarcerated, and now somebody who rips off people's pensions as their witness. Like, can you get lower than this? Play this clip.
We're reaching out to witnesses who have been convicted and sentenced to prison for stealing $80 million from the pensions of innocent workers. We can't get any lower at this point. That's your star witness. I want to remind people he's sitting in prison. That's why he can't be here today. He's sitting in prison for scamming workers' pensions. I mean, how low can you get? Then it's the Republicans' idea that this is the best guy they can get to testify against the president. This is the best guy they can get. A guy sitting in prison who can't even be here. Mr. Parnas,
And again, going back to how this is all connected, and I talk about how it was a day where we can reflect upon what was taking place 4, 5, 6 years ago when Trump was in office and what the real threats are to our democracy, not this MAGA manufactured mush that's trying to just simply distract people from what's really going on here. This is where Democratic Congress member, the chair of the committee, Jamie Raskin, sought to say, look, why don't we subpoena Jared Kushner? Why don't we see what Kushner has to say? Because Kushner was involved in a lot of these things. Why don't we do that? And then watch the MAGA Republicans shut that down, because evidently $3 billion is not something the MAGA Republicans are concerned about when the Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE are giving Kushner that money. What they're really concerned with is that President Biden may have loaned Hunter Biden $4,000 for a car loan in 2018. Here, play this clip from Raskin.
Chair now recognizes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion. I would move pursuant to Clause 2K6 of Rule 11 that the committee issue a subpoena to Jared Kushner to compel testimony related to the $2 billion collected from Saudi Arabia after his service within the White House.
Second.
There's a motion, and for what purpose does the gentleman from Ohio seek recognition?
Move to table the motion.
There's a motion the motion to table is not debatable. As many as are in favor of tabling signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion to...
And of course, it's not a hearing. If you don't hear from Democratic Congress member, superstar Jared Moskowitz. I had the honor of interviewing Congressmember Moskowitz, so we'll play that in a little bit. I'll do the whole interview and I'll release that. But right here is Moskowitz from the hearing where he's talking to Tony Bobulinski, and he goes to him, he goes, well, why don't we just ask if you think Biden's, that bad, why aren't the MAGA Republicans moving for their impeachment? Because they know there's no crimes. They know they can't do anything. So this is all a fugazi. This is all a fake. Here, play this clip of Moskowitz.
You can be damn sure they would have called the vote by now, right? But they want it to go on. They either want it to go on because they don't have the evidence.
Are you asking me a question?
No, I'm just looking at you.
Oh, okay.
But if you want to talk to me, we can talk.
Well, no, I think you haven't read recent data that shows American people are well aware of the Biden's corruption.
Perfect. So then ask the chairman why he hasn't called for impeachment, Tony. He's right here. Ask Comer. Hey, Comer, how come you haven't called for impeachment? I'll do it. Watch. Hi, I'm Tony. Hey, chairman, how come you haven't called for impeachment? When are we going to have the hearing? When is the vote going to happen? I mean, you believe it. He believes it. He says it every day on TV. I just don't know when we're going to have the vote. I mean, let's just go.
Are you asking me to hold the vote?
We can save. No, I just like looking at you. Yeah. We can save the taxpayers millions of dollars. So, I mean, look, I used all of my time to show that this vote is never going to happen because they have no evidence on Joe Biden. I yield back.
And finally, as just a way to reflect upon how all this MAGA nonsense is not normal, if you want this, the stark contrast here, just think about what President Biden is doing today. President Biden went to Arizona to announce a massive $3.2 billion investment that Intel will receive, made possible thanks to the CHIPS Act. This is some critical investment that's going to drive innovation, create jobs, and solidify Arizona's position as a leader in semiconductor manufacturing, actually bringing jobs here. This is President Biden today. Let's just play this clip.
I'm thrilled to announce the latest public-private partnership and one of the largest investments in semiconductors in the United States ever. A new landmark agreement under the CHIPS and Science Act between my administration and Intel for up to $8.5 billion. It's a smart investment. And that's being paired with over $100 billion from Intel, including $30 billion in Arizona and $30 billion in Ohio. It's among the largest private sector investments ever in the history of Ohio and Arizona. And this historic funding will be used to build new semiconductor fab facilities and modernize and expand existing ones in Arizona, Ohio, New Mexico, and Oregon. Combined, it will create nearly 20,000.
Also noteworthy that the United Steelworkers endorsed Biden-Harris for re-election. And here's what they had to say. President Biden is honored to earn the support of the United Steelworkers and its 850,000 workers. The president knows that with their support comes the responsibility to fight like hell every single day for the steelworkers and workers everywhere, as he's done his entire career. 4 years ago, President Biden promised to be the most pro-worker and pro-union president in the history of the United States. And since becoming president, he's lived up to that promise, fighting not just for keeping manufacturing jobs here in the United States, but also boosting American steel and buying American, creating more economic opportunity across the country. President Biden is protecting workers' benefits and fair contract, and he's standing up against corporate greed and for the middle class, becoming the only president to ever stand shoulder to shoulder with workers on a picket line. Workers across the country have so much at stake in this election. Donald Trump is running to gut workers' rights, ship jobs away from the United States, and enrich folks living on Park Avenue, not help the middle class. With the United Steelworkers' support, this campaign will be stronger in reaching workers across the country and ensuring they remain a vital part of the coalition that will send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris back to the White House. I wanted to leave you with that. Tell me what you think in the comments. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support, and have a wonderful day.
Hey, Midas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.